Good evening, fight fans. We are here a little early because we're just burning to
We're off
go
air.
over. We're just no, we're live, I think. Yeah, it says we're
Now
live.
we are. Now we
There
are.
we go. Now we're live. Good evening, Pride Rules fans. Look at Tommy trying to give me the drop, the verbal drop saying Nagi. Like that Britney Spears fan gave to that poor bastard at the concert. But the Pride Rules vidcast schmodcast. I'm gonna go with it. It doesn't rhyme as much, but I'm gonna go with it. It is brought to you by PrideRulesMMA.com. Brought to you by, as always, 80K Fightwear. 80kfightwear.com for all of your competition ready needs. And he's also good man Joe Cashin is coming out with a sweet line of casual wear, kind of casual wear, kind of not. It's an in between, and if you ever wear anything other than a gi, probably a good way to go. Black Hole Jiu Jitsu and the fine folks at MadamaJujitsu.com. There we go. So, as always, with me on this vidcast adventure, it's Tommy D. How you doing, Tommy?
What's going on, buddy? How are you?
Oh, I'm burning. I'm burning with these two topics that we're gonna be talking about, man. First off, how do I get enough money to bribe an athletic commission? Because I feel like we could come up with some pretty awesome death match ideas if we could bribe them the same way that Floyd seems to be able to change rules at a moment's notice. 8 ounces, bro. What the fuck?
Well, you know what? It makes for a more interesting fight. It kind of levels the playing field for Connor, a little bit because he's used to fighting in 4-ounce gloves. Mayweather's used to fighting in 16-ounce gloves, so they could kind of meet somewhere in the middle. The two things that you could look at this as, yeah, this is going to make Floyd a little bit faster, because he's those extra, couple ounces make a difference. Ask Louis Resto and Panama Lewis. They'll tell you
Oh,
taking some of the padding out of the gloves help out.
I
Yeah,
that's cool. I like it, bro. You're throwing it out there, man. Thank you.
but it's the truth.
I
You know what I mean?
okay, dude. It's I
Look what he
mean,
did to that poor guy. You know what I mean? That guy's boxing career was over, and then he drives off the side of a road.
and it's now what we know about CTE and what we know about head trauma and injury. I mean, that's no joke anymore. I mean, I'm not as bad as Schaub say, but I took a couple shots back in the day. It's starting to make me wonder, like
Well,
CTEs
yeah.
and
So
you know.
those couple ounces they make a difference, and now this is the amazing thing about this now. Floyd really has to be defensive because with an 8-ounce glove, if Connor connects with that left hand to Money Mayweather, you're going to be changing his name to Loose Change. Guaranteed.
Just not even 50 Cent. You're going with the whole 50 Cent moniker. I
Yeah,
like
no,
that.
he's just going to be loose change
It's gonna be
because,
just a metaphor for
I mean, come
bum.
on. He's going to catch him flush on the jaw with it. That's basically, a padded fist.
It's bad. 8 ounces is really it's a hop, skip, and a jump away from MMA gloves. It's really getting down to, even 10 was, a little crazy. You practice with 16s usually to kind of just give yourself more of a workout and whatnot, as you know. But every ounce that they shave off of these things, I don't see how it's not more of a plus for Connor. I really don't, because I know you were saying in the chat we were going back and forth a little bit. You were going, hey, listen, he's faster, but yeah, I guess. But the rounds that Connor's going to lose based on speed, he was going to lose anyway. This I think just makes it, like you said, there's a crazy, much smaller margin for error on
Think
on.
of the body shots.
Yo, I swear, and he's a
Think of the
lefty.
body
He's
shots.
a lefty, and that's the liver right there, as my man Boss Rutan would say. Oh fuck, it's the liver. It's it's wild, bro. Like 8 ounces. You and I have both been hit by different ounce gloves. I mean, we both taken shots. 8 ounces hurts, man. 8 ounces starts having this thing of, like you said, like it's an actual just a fist. it's starting to get to that point. This is more and more like, if I feel like almost Brad Pickett should be involved in this somehow, because I feel like there's going to be some pikey action. Somebody's going to get buried out behind the caravans, and they're just going to move after Mayweather gets right.
And now Floyd's going out there saying that, you know, he's coming back because he feels bad about the Pacquiao fight, which kind of makes me laugh because he had one other fight after that. So
and
now you're feeling bad.
That's what's hilarious. It's just, you know, I saw him. I don't know if you caught him on Jimmy Kimmel. I saw the replay of him. Yeah, he was on there. And first off, can we just side note right here? How do you own a strip club and you haven't been in a strip club for 20 years? I felt like that was a crock of shit.
Well, you don't shit where you eat.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm saying not in his own. But is he really trying to feed us the line that he's, you know, a card-carrying member of the evangelical party? He's trying to tell me he hasn't been in a strip club. Get the fuck out of here, money. Jesus, with all that cash. But
he doesn't like them to dance on his pants. He likes to dance on their face with his fist.
Oh, Jesus Christ. You know, and I wonder if he wears 6 ounces when he punches ladies in the face. Who the fuck?
But going back to what I was saying was, he's saying that, you know, he might not want to make this such a defensive fight. Like, are you fucking stupid? Everybody that Conor's beaten, aside from Nate Diaz, has diverted from their usual game plan. Perfect example, Jose Aldo.
Seriously.
He's a defensive fighter. He
100%.
diverted from the game plan and got knocked the fuck out in 13 seconds. Why would you change anything that you've done for 49 fucking fights? Why would you change anything? It's going to be it's going to be an exciting. Well, yeah, just like the report that Zab Judah knocked him out in training. Really,
that's complete and utter horseshit. I'm not buying it. I was listening to the Rogan and Shaw breakdown this today on the way back from work. They were like, "Whoa, it could very well go fuck yourself." In terms of it could very well have happened. Yeah, and you know what? The Earth could be flat, but except there's pictures and satellites and science. There's no possible way. Like, there's no possible way that Zab Judah knocked him out. A, and B, I guarantee you, I would almost be willing to take a bet on this. Mayweather's not going to be running out there to trying to trade blow for blow with Conor McGregor. There's just no way. I think they're doing it to hype the fight because it's still, even with all this Malignaggi bullshit, it's still enough of a mismatch where you have to generate this sort of interest.
You know what, though? With the lighter gloves, I don't see it as much of a mismatch anymore.
It's not. This is so intriguing. This 8-ounce business. When it was first proposed, Tommy, like I just said no way. I immediately thought no way, because first I thought it was Conor saying that he wanted the gloves. I still don't remember who proposed it, but I was like, oh, of course Conor's going to say he wants. Okay, yeah. So what the hell are you doing? Like, is he really just banking on the fact that he's going to make $350 million on this fight? So fuck it, whatever he can do to sell it. And he just feels like he's that good of a boxer that he can carry a dude who's slinging leather at him with smaller gloves. Like,
well, that's what it is. I think he believes that, you know, he is the greatest defensive boxer of all time when he was fighting top contenders.
I agree.
You know, they couldn't touch him.
No.
So he's probably thinking the same thing about Conor. Bro, this completely changes everything for me. You know my stance on this.
100%. Yeah, I know you're not a fan of.
It's not even just being a fan. It's just a fact of somebody with no experience as opposed to somebody who is, you know, arguably the greatest boxer of all time. That's like, hey, I was a pretty good football player freshman year of high school, and I'm going to go try out for the Oakland Raiders.
You walk on to the Oakland Raiders. Not even try out, but you're walking on, and you're in a preseason game.
Yeah,
the Oakland Raiders. You put pads on, and you're fucking doing it for like at least 12 set it down. So, you know, for 3 back and forth series. Like, that's crazy to me. Nobody understands, because people think, hey, you know, there's enough bleed through with boxing and MMA, this, that, and the third. You and I both know, Chief, the not only the level, of artistic refinement that you have when all you have to do is focus on punching. Not only is that far, far different in the world of boxing versus the world of MMA, but even boxing for MMA is really a whole different beast. If you look at it,
Well, the
and you try to
stances are
check it,
different.
100%.
You know what I mean?
The weight distribution, where you keep your foot, that can even, and there's wrinkles there based on what type of striking / boxing you come from. Because if you're a straight up boxer, like say like a Diaz brother, you're going to be heavy on that front foot. But if you're coming into boxing for MMA, so exchanging hands and mixed martial arts, the distance and the stance and the weight you have on your leg, if you're say a Muay Thai fighter with a Muay Thai background, it's going to be completely different. A kickboxer is going to be maybe standing a little more 50-50 or 70-30, say. You know, a Muay Thai fighter is going to be fucking 80-20, almost in that little cat stance to try to fuck.
Well, it's also how they set up to go inside or set up for their distance
Distance
to check the range.
Is huge.
You know, you're not Connor's not.
Why did Machida shit on motherfuckers when he came in? Right? Because it was such a different approach to striking in MMA that MMA had never seen. But that's the sort of curveballs that you have folded in to MMA striking. You don't have those in boxing yet.
No.
Yeah, it's almost like, you know, instead of writing, you know, a big, long, descriptive story about a big chain of events with MMA where you have to cover a lot of different occurrences, boxing, you can start diving deep and you're writing like poetry about, you know, 2 features on a person's face, and you're just writing lines and lines and lines. You're just getting deep into what it is that it takes to hit a man in the face with your hands. And it's a whole different ball game from the stance, the stamina, right? We haven't even touched that, bro. Like how 3 minutes, 12 times, you know? I mean, it's just this whole thing. I don't understand how.
But that's what I mean. Like, so on paper, you don't give Connor a shot. You know, everybody's, oh, well, the left hand. Well, with 16-ounce gloves, yeah, the left hand would be a factor. Yeah. But now it's a real factor.
Now it's a fucking brick.
Yeah.
With 8-ounce gloves on, it's really like now you're starting to shave off enough ounces where the padding is more protecting your hand than it is protecting the other guy from getting knocked out. Not from head trauma, because we know boxing is, you know, rest in peace, Tim Hague. You know, because fucking boxing is terrible for the head trauma. So, and worse, I would say, you know, for repeat injury than MMA, because of the way that it's stopped and the way that, you know, the smaller gloves fuck up with the soft tissue damage, right? But this becomes a situation where, good Lord, now you're slinging fucking bolos at your head. And who does that favor? Immediately Connor. Because that's what he's used to. He's used to the sniping, because that's what the 4 ounces make MMA striking. Where that snipe shot and the way you don't get the standing 8 count, that snipe shot can be all you need. You know, that little karate, you know, in and out like a fencer, you know, old school Bruce Lee type shit right there, right? Like that can be the win, which it was against Aldo. But let me back it up a little bit, because you touched on something I really wanted to ask you about. Do you really think he's inside Mayweather's head like he would be for Aldo? Or do you think it's just being done to sell tickets?
No, it's just being done to sell tickets. I don't think he's in Mayweather's head at all.
No,
I don't think he's in his head at all.
I think they're fucking boys.
I don't think they're boys, but
I'd become friends with a rabid pit bull if that rabid pit bull was making me $100 million, and that pit bull would love me.
They'll be friends after the fight, but
you know,
I don't see either one of them getting into either one's head, because what's Conor realistically going to say to Mayweather that nobody's ever said about him before? What are they going to say?
You have a small pee-pee? I don't know. I'm reaching here. Like I don't.
There's really nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing either one of them can say to each other that haven't already been said. I mean,
that CJ Watson jersey was the closest to a kill shot with the shit talking.
And I'm sure he probably didn't even give a shit, because he was probably laying on a bed full of money, you know, getting his taint tickled by some stripper that works at his strip club. He doesn't give a shit.
But not in the strip club, though.
No,
Right?
not in the strip club because
At his
that's
house.
against the law. That's against the law.
Because he's a Christian. Okay, that's good. That's good to know.
And with Conor, if you think about it, the MMA community is probably the most vulgar and just asshole-ish out of them all.
Oh, because we're trolls, bro.
Right.
Remember, we had to sustain this sport in the depths of the MMA underground. Like, there's a ton of MMA fans on 4chan still. There's a ton of MMA fans on Reddit. Yeah.
There's nothing that either one of them could say to each other.
No way.
You know what I mean? It's just
no way.
All it's going to come down to 100% is Floyd old, and can Conor hang for 12 rounds with a guy who's as fast as Floyd is? Everybody's comparing the Malignaggi stuff, and you heard Brendan Schaub and Rogan even talking about that. This isn't a guy who's been training.
Nope.
They knew it was fucked up that Paulie got brought in there just to get embarrassed. And what makes it even more fucked up is that Dana's involved. You don't. That's something that he shouldn't even be fucking involved in.
He's doing WME. No, he's doing WME's dirty work though.
But he should not be involved in that. In going on Twitter with Paulie and saying the things that he says, some of these times where Dana White just needs to sit back and just shut the fuck up because it's not all about you. Well, Dana White did not make this fight happen.
Between Coker and White. Oh, White's coming in at the 11th hour through the back door and then trying to be like, he's trying to be like that dirty congressman that comes in and is like, this was my idea all along. I'd like to give this park to the children. Meanwhile, 90% of the time up front, he was just like, I don't want to give this park to the kids. Fuck this. I want to sell it to a Chick-fil-A, except we're going to make them be open all 7 days. We're going to really fuck the game up. But but that's Dana though. Dana's just, he's a carnival barker, a high priced one now. Right.
Yeah. I don't get it. There's just some things that he just should not be involved in. I understand he was there and, now they're going to release the video after the fight, but why? So you're telling me you're going to try and set up a fight with Conor and Paulie Malignaggi after this.
Absolutely.
And your fucking lightweight division does not have a fucking champion.
That lightweight division is done, though, as far as Conor McGregor. Mark my words, we're going to chop this thing up into segments, folks, so you can hold me to this. If somehow I'm not channeling my inner Tommy the Swami, but Conor McGregor's never going to defend any belt in the UFC. He's gonna fight this fight with Mayweather. If he ever fights again, which he very well might just say, fuck it, I got my 100 mil, I'm out. He's going to fight Paulie Malignaggi for however many millions. That'll still be more than what he would make in a UFC fight, no matter what. And then he's going to ride off into the fucking sunset and make the Irish A-Team, the adaptation over there, or resurrect the British version of The Office, which I would love personally. But
you're not gonna, you know what I mean? No. It's just, I don't know what's going on, in Dana's mind, but you're letting your biggest draw start to disappear. I mean, what are the UFC and WME going to do? Okay, well, all right, fine. You're not coming back to fight for us. You're going to fight Paulie Malignaggi. Well, we're taking a percentage of your purse. So are they going to do that? Are they going to do that every time he does something that's not in the UFC? Anytime if he does a movie, you know what I mean? To supplement that income that they're losing because they're letting him go away. This is what I mean, and this is what pisses me off about this fight. You're letting this guy fight for belts. You know he's not going to defend them. You know that this Floyd garbage has been going on since probably before he won the lightweight belt.
Oh, yeah. So you called that. You called that with the whole baby shit.
Yeah.
And you said that he was already plotting and hatching this scheme.
Yes.
You're spot on, Tommy, 1,000%. There's no way
this fight doesn't just get made in 3 months. You know what I'm saying?
It's too big. No. There's too many pieces involved. Anytime there's the reason why I said it had to happen was the reason why it had to have been in the works earlier. The cash. This much cash, you can't just be like, yeah, fuck it. Okay, 2 months. They had to fucking break off Ice Cube a check in order to get him to vacate the premise, be out by 5, sir, and take the basketballs with you if you would. But Jesus Christ, you were right about that. Spot on yet again. I mean, you're kind of in the habit of doing that. I gotta say, I'm a little jealous.
Well, it's just common fucking sense. Like if somebody is that stupid, when a guy says, I'm gonna take time off because I'm having a baby, but within a month and a half of that,
yeah,
a month and a fucking
he's
half,
back to doing
he's doing videos of him boxing and hashtag Floyd. Are you fucking kidding me? But that's why I say, like, a lot of his fans are dumb as fuck. They have no fucking common sense, a lot of his fans.
Oh, Jesus.
Because you actually... So, what part of what's been going on right now has he been with his family? Other than taking a picture with his adorable kid with 4 UFC belts. Where the fuck did 4 UFC belts come from? Whatever the fuck it was.
He sent 2 of them away for mail order. Just like I got one for jiu-jitsu from Jiu-Jitsu Brother. I got another blue one because the old one was spraying. Yeah, he sent away for 2 in the mail. They got via Amazon.
This has been going on for a while. So you let this guy fight for a belt and then hold another division hostage. And then you're going to be okay with him going to do it again.
Yeah, he's done.
Make your fucking money. That's fine. Cool, whatever. But give the fucking belt back so these guys in the lightweight division have something to fight for. Will it be real if he doesn't defend it? No, but who gives a shit?
No, it'll be like the remember when Pride got bought and Fedor didn't come over eventually. But so the lineal championship wasn't exactly, but after enough fights and enough, 225 plus pound monsters beat the shit out of each other, you kind of eventually forget about that. And the UFC title regains its prominence as, the premier title. But you're right. These poor bastards at 155, literally, it's a ship without a rudder. They're just adrift. Okay. You want to get into it? Cause we really can. Why the fuck is Kevin Lee? For like anybody that wears cheetah print outside of the house for any reason whatsoever that isn't a professional streetwalker needs to not be employed.
What about Shoney Carter?
Well, he can do it. Shoney gets a pass. Okay, Shoney's a pimp. He works with streetwalkers. So I think there's the corollary there. The pimp with a passport. All right, the man who owns the largest set of fucking MMA cups ever minted to protect any sort of jewels in fight combat sports history. Those cups were the size of my quad and knee joint, for fuck's sake. It was like he had a knee joint just protruding out of his fucking crotch. Anyway, yeah, look it up if you don't believe me, please.
Well, just watch him, the Ultimate Fighter season with the one that Matt Serra won.
Oh my Lord! Comeback. It was the combo of like XXL cup and extra small Speedos. You know what I mean? Like he was like, the Speedos were mad European, and that cup was an American made, like for heavier weights. Anyway, Kevin fucking Lee though.
Here's what I don't understand. Aside from Kevin Lee, how does a fight over Michael Chiesa get you a freaking number 1 contender shot? That's what I want to know.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm still, I consider, I love this sport. Consider myself a pretty erudite fan. But if I look fast, McKenzie and Chiesa, I can confuse them. If I'm looking fast and I'm just scrolling through news or some shit, I can be like, wait a second, was that the dude who wore like the Champion Sports or the And One shorts to the UFC to a fight, because he couldn't have his sponsors on and he still had the tag on? Or is that the guy who does this other stuff? Either way, I want to get this up front. Chiesa, please don't hunt me down and try to choke me, because I know that you're in the business of calling out anybody who disagrees with you on how this fight came about, including the poor old man of a ref Leave Mario Yamasaki alone. Leave him alone, please. He's a national treasure. But yeah, how the hell does that happen? I
don't know.
It's not for lack of other contenders, right?
Well, I'm looking at the name. I'm looking at the names in this ranking system. Now, Justin Gaethje he just had a war. I understand that, but
Justin Gaethje just got a Purple Heart for what he did. You know, no offense,
but
to my.
I think he might be ready. I think he might be ready by November 5th.
He would tell you he's ready tonight. So let's not go by. You know?
That fight would make more sense to me than Kevin Lee and Tony Ferguson
because of his pedigree and the other organization. You know, from jumping over. I get you. Okay, makes sense. I mean, Kevin
or Eddie fucking Alvarez.
Honestly, Dustin Poirier,
Edson Barbosa.
Edson.
Guess what? Do you know what these guys all have in common? They're all ranked higher than Lee.
Oh shit! Yeah, I really fell for that one too. Like he drew me in. I was like, they're all bad.
Like,
man.
do they think this is going to be another like fucking Cody situation where the number 5 guy? Well, he's not even ranked number 5. Fuck, Kevin Lee's ranked number 7.
No, I think the Cody situation, you have to have a neck tattoo in order to make that jump and have it be successful. It's something with the activation of the pheromones and the fight.
And apparently now he's got a 70s porn star rape man's mustache.
That's apparently a thing that's going on. I'm growing this out because one of my friends is having a wedding and he's Punjabi. I have to have a beard. All right. I'm part of the groom's party. I get it. But if I then after the day after the wedding come in and I just have this, please punch me in the fucking mouth.
You look like Dylan Dennis, honestly.
Yeah, and that's not a look I'm really ever going for. Maybe on Halloween, but that's about it. If I want to go around and be a dickhead for October
and frost your hair like it's fucking 1997.
Yo, and sing NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. Like, how far back are we gonna go with this? Because that's the style that Dylan Dennis is rocking. Meanwhile, he's calling out all of the East Coast jiu-jitsu scene. But that's a talk for another time.
But he won't step in the cage with Brad this year.
No, yeah, and not to, because he knows Brad would starch him. First off, let's get that completely out of the way. You know, hashtag Brad, get back on social media so we can tag you and stuff that we kind of did with you. That'd be great. Also, hopefully you get another fight and you're able to knock that motherfucker out. But there's so many other folks that I think would provide not only a better matchup, but like you said, a matchup that makes a lot more sense based on rankings. But again, is this just reiteration that the rankings don't fucking matter at all?
That's exactly what it is.
You know, do the belts matter though? I mean, what the fuck are we doing right now?
How could any belt matter in a lightweight division that doesn't have a champion?
Stop it, sir. All belts matter. All right, hashtag social justice.
But the champion is not fighting in the organization.
Yeah.
After this, Conor's gonna go on an island with his wife and blow lines of coke off her ass cheeks.
Yeah.
Because of all the money that he's making, and
Probably.
Dylan Dennis is gonna be taking care of his kid while he's gone.
It's good nanny. That's Dennis the nanny. Like that's pretty much I think where
Danny the nanny.
Danny the nanny. But doesn't it seem like, remember when they replaced like the mom on Fresh Prince? You know what I mean? And like they're trying to see if the fans will notice it. Like they're just serving up this Fugazi fucking interim belt. And there's a shiny belt, so people are gonna give a shit about it. No, man. Ferguson and the guy who loses out on all of this, you know, because we're ragging on Lee, because god damn it, cheetah print. That's all I gotta say. Shoney Carter notwithstanding. Tony Ferguson, bro. This guy deserves a shot at a legitimate crown against a legitimate opponent.
He deserves Khabib.
Yes, he does. Put out the Dagestani bear symbol or whatever the fuck. Yeah, not tiramisu. Don't put the tiramisu symbol out because I don't want to. I don't want to have.
See, like he was telling them that he needed more time. Like I don't get it.
What, for a liver transplant to take?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I really don't. You know, and like a lot of people be like,
for Putin.
Well, you know what? Like a lot of people will be like, oh, well, Ramadan. Well, you know what? When Chris and I wrestled, we had Muslims on our team.
I thought you were just
And
about to tell me when I wrestled, I
no,
did Ramadan. And I was like, what?
no, we had Muslims on our team, and yeah, they're not allowed to eat, past like what is it, like sundown or something like that.
Yeah, like while the sun's out or something, they
Yeah, well,
can't. They can't. Yeah,
whenever they could eat,
which
they would
makes
run.
Ramadan during the summer suck sweaty balls.
Yeah, but they would run, grab something to eat, and then come back to wrestling practice. There's another UFC fighter that trained during
Bilal Muhammad.
Bilal Muhammad. That's
Mm-hmm.
it. He trained during Ramadan too. So I don't believe that with Khabib. I think he is just fucked up in the head.
Yeah.
I think all that wrestling with bears as a kid made him fucked up.
So is this why like there's no happy ending when you beat Street Fighter with Zangief? Like that you notice like there's no ending credits. They just cut to him like getting run over by something. Like it just never ends well.
I don't get it. You know what I mean? You have the best record in MMA at this point. In the UFC for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess John Jones, you could say, but he did, he has a loss on his record. Khabib doesn't have one.
He doesn't have a loss. Fuck out of here. He beat that.
When you look at his record, what does it say?
He beat that deaf boy. He beat the Sound of Music.
When you look at his record, what does it say?
Yo, the hills were alive with the sound of everything. All right.
Yes.
Crying.
Well, he still has a loss on his record. Khabib doesn't have one.
But based on body of work, I could argue that the John Jones is a little more impressive. I like where you went with that. I know we're butting heads on this fucking bullshit loss. But, yeah, he's beaten more killers. The one rub you can give Khabib is whether it was for visa issues, whether it was his dad protecting him, whether it was something. Some of those names at the beginning of his career were a little, but
he did beat the shit out of the former champ.
But he did. But as the competition went up, he stepped up to the plate at all times. You know what I mean? So it's like any rub that you can give him for having some jobbers from the front end of his record. It strikes as a little bit like what a boxing record would be up front. Granted, okay. But every step up in competition, he's done the same fucking thing, which is just take him down, dominate him, and make him look like children.
I also look at where he trains. Like, yeah, they are team pullout, but
hashtag pullout.
He's a 155-pound fighter who is wrestling with heavyweights, and not just any heavyweights. He's wrestling with probably one of the greatest heavyweights in UFC history in Cain Velasquez.
Yeah, and for wrestling, straight up wrestling, an Olympian.
Yeah,
and the captain of that team. Yes, he had the kidney issues. Maybe they're fucking contagious. I hate to say this, but like, what the hell is going on with like his renal system shut down because of the weight cut?
Well, because he was probably so sunk in he couldn't. You know what I mean? Your kidneys start to shut down.
Yeah, you start doing the not sweating.
He started cutting weight too late. That's why. Brendan Schaub said it perfectly. You can fucking hire somebody to tell you what to do. Lou Giordano. Pick up the fucking phone, Lou. Call Dagestan. Learn to speak his language and teach him how to fucking make weight.
Celebrate Ramadan with our boy Khabib Nurmagomedov. I butchered that.
I mean, this is the guy who actually got Johnny Hendricks to make weight at welterweight.
That tells me he's up on that brujeria, because that's really what it takes to make that fat bastard make weight ever again. Okay, he couldn't even at 185. He fucking couldn't make weight.
Well, you saw how good John Jones just looked, right?
Yeah.
Lose his nutritionist.
And let me tell you, I know they were getting tested out the ass, so I'm not even suggesting this. This is being purely said as a testament to how good Lou is at his craft. Motherfucker looked like he was on steroids. Like, that's how good he looked.
Shredded.
He was shredded to fucking bits. He had like 9-pack. I bet you his too big Viagra-needing floppy donkey dick that had like a couple of muscles on the top of it, for God's sakes. You feel me? Like this, he was shredded to shit, and he really came to fight, obviously. He looked good in the first round. He looked good in the second round, and, obviously he looked really good as the fight went on. Hashtag don't interview the poor bastard after he gets knocked out. But
Hashtag head kicks.
hashtag head kicks for fucking days. But and also now the memes, the new meme is inserting Joe Rogan into like everybody getting knocked out, which I love a lot more. I'll tell you right now, I love that a lot more than seeing the crybaby face. So let's keep that one going.
I'm glad the cry face kind of died out.
Me too, because this
it
guy
was
does
funny
have
that
to,
weekend. It was funny that weekend, and maybe for a few. It's only really funny when we do it making fun of Tim Banry because Zeke's missing 6 games. That's when it's really funny.
Well, I don't that boy's on some that. Sorry, no. That my boy, like he's my friend, but I have to watch my P's and Q's. That gentleman is on some other shit here with the whole that noose video or whatever. I was just like, oh man,
when he was drinking juice at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yo, and like that bottle was easily 3/4 of the way killed. Like even if it was done for effect, bravo, because that's awesome use of props to promulgate the point that you're at your wit's end, and rightfully so. The Ewok got cut for 6 games. But
so that's the only time that the crying Cormier face works is when Vic places it on Zeke's head or on Tim's head. That's the only time it works.
It's really and then it needs to just get retired. A little moratorium on it. But
you just heard not to keep diverting from what we've been talking about, but you did hear what he just said, right? He's looking to fight John Jones again. And here's the bad thing about that is it's so fucking possible.
The one bad thing?
It's so possible because there's nobody in there. There's nobody in there. Are they going to have Gustafsson fight fucking Ozdemir or whatever the fuck his name is?
The the king of no time.
No time.
Exactly.
Is that what it's going to be?
That's what we've reduced the light heavyweight division to, though. It's really like after that top 3, one of which retired to go sell weed, the other one that just got made into a fucking meme, and the third one who's already said, "Hey, listen, I'm moving up in weight because that's where the money is." There's John Jones. You know what though? I'm going to tell you this. I don't feel John Jones wants any more of Alex Gustafsson. That's a no-win situation for John Jones.
Well, what I think John Jones needs to do is a week out, get an 8-ball.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That's what the fuck.
Stay in a room. Don't leave. Get an 8-ball. Have a couple drinks. Go in there and fight Gustafsson, and we'll see where we go from there. That's what I think needs to happen.
He should write, have to fight Gustafsson on his arm in case he wakes up and he forgets what the hell he needs to do the next day.
Just put him in there. Put him in there with a heavy bag. Put him in there with a speed bag, a jump rope, and an actual body bag, so he could practice some ground and pound.
Jesus Christ!
A table with a mirror.
Oh my Lord!
A razor blade and an 8-ball. And just keep replaying the same song over and over and over. And turn into a fucking madman.
He's gonna come out and he's gonna have a cigarette on a filter. Benicio del Toro is gonna be giving him legal advice, and then we're just gonna see fucking Las Vegas burned down to the ground. The Raiders won't make the move anymore. They're like, John Jones fucking lives there now. I
mean, as much as Gustafsson, I don't know. He's too much of a head case for me. He really is. He's too much of a head case for me.
And I think he's a trap fight for John Jones because if he has his head on right, he is the one that took him to that rain-slick precipice of darkness. He took him right to the edge. I think they both died a little in that fight. And it was close. But if he's not there.
John Jones also said he didn't take him serious.
But would he take him seriously this time? I don't know. I
think he'd want to put him out this time. Like, perfect example. Look at the first DC fight. True. Compared to this one.
True. That's true.
It didn't look like he was taking DC that serious in the first fight.
No.
I mean, it was a good fight.
It seemed like he did turn it on at the end to oh, fuck, I got to steal a couple of these rounds. I got to put it on him because oh, shit.
But then you looked at him this fight.
He was ready to kill him. He wanted to kill him.
Yeah.
He was hoping that he killed him with some of those shots at the end, too. He just
So I
ran in.
think against Gustafson, I think he would come out like a house of fire, and I think he would put out Gustafson within the first round.
That's interesting. I'm not 100% on that, but I see where you're going
I
with that.
do. I do. And then
You know?
after that fight, Gustafson's going to think about retiring again, and then it's the same. It's going to be the same.
No, Gustafson's going to be done after that. If John Jones comes in with the mental mess that he left of that man after he beat him the first time, and that's one of those fights where like I don't know
See,
why he took it that
I don't
far.
think Jones didn't leave him with a mental mess. Rumble left him with a mental mess.
That yeah, that's true. He was he
That's what put
yeah.
with that
That's put
fight
the
with
nail in the
John
coffin.
Jones. He grew a big pair of fucking Swedish balls
He
after that
should.
one.
The big Swedish meatballs. They're
But
tasty. They're
then,
good for you.
as soon as he got locked into that cage with Rumble just punched his soul
Rumble had butter.
away.
Let's come on. Let's not be let's not get carried away. Do I think it could have gone the same way without the headbutt? Yeah, because I think anybody that gets in there with Rumble has a 50% chance of getting knocked into Pluto. Just ask Glover Teixeira. His tooth is still rotating around as space debris. That shit's you can tune in fucking Russian novellas on the filling inside of that fucking tooth. But I just think I don't know. Rumble do that to anybody, but the headbutt had something to do with it. I don't like hearing from any fighter though. As much as I'm high on them now, I'm not flip flopping, but I don't like hearing, "Hey, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. I don't know if I want to, I don't know if I want to keep it in. I'm going to take some time off to find myself." Like
That's when I think it's already halfway in his mind. He's got a foot out the door.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Although he hasn't but then again, I flip flop. I'm not going to flip flop, but I do flip flop because then again, he hasn't looked better. Yeah, was it a case of Glover just being 900 years old finally
I
with
think
the
it's a
age
case of Glover's been through
wars?
wars.
And he's one of those old school guys, and I have it on good authority because I know a couple of people that train with him. He's right by me in Danbury. Danbury's like 40 minutes away from where I live. There's some gym battles. He's one of those old school cats that still believes in, you have to mind your P's and Q's and try to destroy everybody in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
He's still from that, BTT shoot box sort of influence lineage from Brazil where it's like, okay, the Conor versus Paulie Malignaggi would be called like a Monday. Like we're knocking each other out.
Yeah.
And we're getting up, and my name is Vanderlei Silva, and I won't remember how to spell when I'm 45 years old. But I don't know. Going back to the lightweight division though, and a division that's in limbo, not because there's a dearth of talent like the light heavyweight division, but why are they giving? What do you tell Ferguson if you're in his corner once this thing is announced? Yeah, we got to get paid, but what the fuck?
But what's the payday going to be? I mean, what's it going to be?
That's true. I think the real payday for anybody in that division is the one that's getting held back from them.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate.
I mean, that pay-per-view should do pretty good because,
sure.
It's GSP's returning fight. I know it hasn't been officially 100% signed for November 5th, but he already signed his contract with the UFC. It's going to be for the MSG card because it's the anniversary one.
Hey, but what if Bisping goes back to Hawaii and then gets taken fucking ransom this time? This is the only thing that I think he avoided having happen to him on his last trip to Hawaii. Shout out to Hawaii Mike. What the fuck is going on out there? My brother.
Well, then you go to Iowa and wheel
God.
Matt Hughes down to fight GSP in the Garden.
Oh my Lord. Why? And you know how much of a scumbag I am? A, I'm half laughing at that. First off, let's get that out of the way. That's fucked up. B, I'm picturing the wheelchair dude from Family Guy, like whooping some ass. Oh, Christ. You're an evil man, Thomas. That's
No, I
just
mean, you got to get GSP in there. With Connor gone, you got to get GSP back.
yeah.
Because he was their biggest draw. You know what I mean? So
They're
you
putting
got
out
to
the
get
signal
him
for
back in there.
Brock Lesnar of all people, for God's sakes. Mind you, they might even throw Ronda a bone.
Are you telling me,
you know, he's not bad at it.
100%, are you telling me you would not be intrigued to see Brock Lesnar versus John Jones?
Only way that I would want to see that fight, I'm going to tell you flat out, is if he's allowed to take every scientific advantage that we've developed. I want them to pump in them fucking steroids that they've been growing up at this International Space Station.
Yeah, but I want to see John Jones off his back.
Nah, the shit that regrows
him there.
Floppy legs and shit. Like when you come down from, 2 years in space and they got to inject you so you can walk and shit. It's like the space polio that you get. I want that injected into Brock Lesnar. All right? Jesus, I want him to be a half crocodile man. Okay? I want him to be an experiment. That's who I want to see. And I want him not to say a fucking word. I want Paul Heyman to do all his talking or all the writing for whatever Brock reads off of a script, because that boy's still stupid. And yes, I would want to watch that fight. I would.
But honestly, isn't it sad that this is what it's gotten to?
Yeah, WME has turned the premier fight league in the sport that we both love into a fucking joke of a piñata show.
Well, they're just letting the inmates run the asylum.
It's like Japanese TV is what it's turning into. Like isn't there a show where dudes get blown, but they have to not like show any emotion while they're getting blown under a table? This is the same. This is the same sort of television.
I think we call that Congress here. I think.
Oh, well, that's right. And you know how badass Japan is. Congress over there, they actually do judo in the middle of fucking Parliament, doing hip tosses, and I'm like, yo, that's why I practice gi, for just that opportunity. Good Lord. But yeah, it's a circus, man. If they're going back into the pool and they're saying that this boy is gonna fucking do the 18 months of testing, get the fuck out of here.
He will. He will.
Yeah, and then when he's cleared, the day he's cleared, they're gonna fucking hit him with the test is gonna be.
The test is gonna be this Sunday at SummerSlam. If he loses, he's going back to the UFC.
You're 100% correct. You're 100% correct. And then the next day, they're going to hit him with more injections than they hit you with when you started your service, sir. All right? They're just going to line him up.
Yeah, but you see, that's just the thing. Like, we're getting excited for this. And this, as we said before, this all ties in to the lightweight division because its champion, the top money earner, is out making money fighting a boxing match and setting another one up after.
Yeah,
and that's what that future. And there's no future for the lightweight division. There's no fucking future.
You're looking at that belt being tied up, the lineal championship, the real one, on Connor's, one of the 4 that he sent away for. That belt being tied up, in all honesty, if say he does come back by some miracle, that belt, you're still looking at it, what, mid-2018? Or Q3 2018, sorry, because you give him some time to swim in the cash that he's going to make from this one. Paulie Malignaggi still talks enough shit to try to get paid on his end. And then what? They have another fight camp, another 2-month fight camp. That puts it at what, September? We're looking at potentially still.
Well, look at it this way. He won the belt 9 months ago.
That's bananas, man. When you say, yeah, you put it in perspective, Chief. That's crazy. It's been 9 months since he put Eddie Alvarez on fucking Clear Street.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long ass time, man. That's pretty terrible. And as Tony Ferguson too, you're the one left holding the goddamn bag. Even more so than Khabib, because Khabib did it to himself.
Yeah, but anybody in that division is holding the fucking bag. Essentially, we've talked about this before. You're just fighting for a paycheck now. You're not fighting for an opportunity to be a champion. That's not fucking fair.
No. You don't get into this fight game, and you don't go 2 feet into this fight game, I should say. Some people do get into it for just the pay and the notoriety and want to say, I train UFC, whatever. But the real guys that put in the work and that rise and grind and get to the top levels of the sport, they do it because they want to be number one. It's not a tickling competition, They want to hurt each other. They want to
there's not many fighters out there that are revered for their career that haven't won a belt. I mean, you could name a handful. Jeremy Horn is one of them.
Of course.
Donald Cerrone is one of them.
But look at how much they've had to supersede like the normal. Like those two people. We'll just keep it to those two, right? Sorry to cut you off if you had others, but those two are great examples. They're more popular than some champions, I would argue. At least for me, Jeremy Horn's a goddamn legend, so I love the guy.
Look, guy's got 67 fucking submission wins.
Jesus Christ, right? Exactly. That's all you got to say for me. You had me at 67 submission wins, not just hello, but I have 67 sub wins on my record. Oh, but those guys are super popular, more popular than some champions, but they've had to have such exemplary careers aside from a championship to be in the discussion as among the greats of all time. There's other folks that we know that aren't as great, but just slipped, tripped, and stumbled into a belt by some, mere stroke of genius. Michael Bisping. And they're suddenly, oh yeah, they're great. They're all-time greats.
Now they're the GOAT all of a sudden.
Yeah, exactly. But yet, a Jeremy Horn didn't ever win gold.
Nope.
But he has that extensive record. Or Cowboy Cerrone made his bones over the fact that he'll fight you for a ham fucking sandwich on 20 seconds notice, Mm-hmm. He's the guy that's always looking to eat that extra cornbread.
I mean, I just remember the days where the champions made the money and the challengers were hungry for it. Like, there's no carrot for these guys anymore. No. There's no carrot in front of them anymore.
It's all super fights. I think what we're seeing, I've been giving this some thought. Remember the shift in the sport when it went from the tournament format to the super fight, or quote unquote the super fight format, like the present for the current rules that we see now. Mm-hmm. They only fight once in the evening, the weight classes, all this and that. We're seeing a different tectonic shift, I believe, in the sport, because now, like you're saying, the belts mean dick. All we're seeing is who the promoters think will make the absolute most cash without any semblance of actual, this is a league. And I feel like before the sale, Dana and company, Dana and the Fertittas were trying to, with the Reebok deal, ostensibly, although that was for money, they were trying to make it like, oh, this is an up-and-coming league. We're trying to be, the rankings matter. The championships matter. We're going to have the best fight the best. So we have our own version of the playoffs, like the contender matchups, right? Now it doesn't fucking matter.
No. You know what I think that they should do? And it doesn't have to be a one-night format. Do a fucking bracket.
Yeah, they do.
Do a goddamn tournament bracket.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
Do a tournament bracket.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck the Twitter. Fuck that bullshit. Do a
Mm-hmm.
tournament bracket.
Mm-hmm.
See who the best fighter is. Not the one who gets the most fucking Twitter followers.
But seed them the same way. And in the fight game, if a 15 can beat a 2 in March Madness, you're damn well sure that a 15 can beat a 2 in a MMA fight. We know that that's even more so of a crazy situation. So I would love to see that. Make it over the course of, say,
a year.
4 to 5 events, exactly, which you could do, depending on injury, you could do over the course of a year, and then you crown that champion, and then that champion suddenly has legitimacy. Hopefully they're getting pay-per-view points. But again, who the fuck cares? Mighty Mouse is barely making $25. He's not making pay-per-view. I mean, he's
not pushed, though.
But again, it's a circular recursive argument. Is he not pushed because he doesn't draw, or does he not draw because he's not pushed? It's one of those.
It's both.
It is.
It's both.
But he's been a champion forever. So I think seeing what that does and what's happened in that division probably slowly eroded the mystique for other folks, which I think Conor put the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, but you see, guys can't go out now and do what Conor does because he's just imitating Conor. He's just imitating Conor. Yeah. So you're fucking held over a barrel no matter what.
And like, shown all 50 states.
Well, the Fertitta brothers were licking asshole and tickling his taint while Dana was blowing him, and he hadn't even really fought anybody in the UFC yet. They were high on this guy.
For that mental image, though. I gotta say.
But it's the truth.
It is. When he was making the money. But he fucked them, though. He flipped the script on him. He was thinking of flipping it on him from the get-go. I can't even be mad at that.
I'm not mad at him, but Dana should be pushing his champions the same way he pushes this fucking joke. Now, I say he's a joke because of what he's doing.
That lightweight division is in shambles, and it's going to be.
That's why I say he's a joke.
There's no coming back from
champion it. But there's no legit champion at featherweight either. Yeah. There's two divisions, no legit champ.
Yeah.
Just like everybody was saying, but everybody was saying that. But everybody was saying that DC wasn't a legit champ. Oh, he's a paper champ. Why was he a paper champ? Because he never beat anybody he didn't beat John Jones for the belt, right?
To be the man, you got to beat the man. Shout out to Ric Flair. Come out of it.
He's getting better.
Me too. Yeah, same here.
But for 145, Aldo was just given the belt.
That was
all right. Well, he's not coming back, so here.
That was pretty fucking vile. And I love how that was folded into, it was like a busy news week or something that week. We really didn't get into like how crazy that was. But when you look back on it, the dude was just handed the belt.
Yeah.
Flat out handed it. And then they had an interim belt because he was sitting out waiting for even he knew that this belt was a Cracker Jack box prize. And that's why he was waiting to see if Conor would come back down. And that's why Max Holloway had to fucking get that. Didn't he do the interim and then they had to unify when he fought Aldo, and it's still not really.
No, he had the interim when he fought Frankie at UFC 200.
Yeah, okay. And then,
And then Conor they just took the belt from him. Yeah. And it was just like, oh, here you go, Jose. There you go.
That's terrible.
I guess he kind of earned it. I don't know how really, but know. So
are we tying not UFC belts now?
So now you have that. So that's not a legit belt. Whatever's going on with the lightweight division, if he doesn't come back, that belt's not legit either.
No. And that's sad.
So that's why I call him a joke. Like, yeah, congratulations, you're making your money, dude. Good for you. That's awesome. Wish I could have some of it, but
he's fighting Paulie after. You know this.
Yeah,
like, this whole bullshit is. I'm just like.
Let me tell you something. If the Fertitta brothers were involved in this wouldn't be going on the way it is. Like, they wouldn't just give Conor a fucking title shot, let him go fucking jerk his gurk, doing what he's doing now, and the company fucking suffer the way it's suffering.
I feel like they would have had a hard conversation with him in the back of one of their casinos, if you know where the fuck I'm going with this. And I think it would have been a much different outcome.
Like the Mayweather thing. Yeah, that's cool, but we're going to have to take your UFC belt and you're going to have to come back and fight for it if you want it when you come back.
Which I think would have been the best thing to do for everybody.
It's the right thing to do.
And also, I keep harping on it. Business-wise, bro, it would have been the best thing to do. Not only just the right thing, but then because then you set up down the road a much better pool of draws to then get hit with the accelerant that would be a returning Conor McGregor.
Look what it did for John Jones.
Right? His star has never been fucking brighter.
Look what it did for Jones.
Right? Yeah. They had they let him do whatever the fuck he was doing, take Viagra, take not Viagra, whatever, fix his shit. They had, and he, like you said, he still got heckled. Yeah. I mean, Cormier for having basically a fake belt. But when he came
They
back, he
never.
came back to
It didn't
unify it.
matter.
It was
But
done.
it didn't matter how many times he defended it and against who. Nobody could. Most of the fans did not consider that a real belt.
Yeah.
So
And it wasn't.
145 is not real, and whatever happens at 155 isn't real. So
Which is sad because there's both weights. There's a great crop of fighters. If
of
Frankie
course,
manages to take that strap from Holloway, I'd want it to be a legitimate strap. I don't want him to be tainted with this stink of I didn't fight Connor, so I didn't have the belt. When you know full well that Frankie would fight him in the back of a fucking Little Caesars parking lot.
yeah, when they were looking for an opponent, I remember Dana White had asked Frankie when he knew that he had a torn fucking groin.
Yeah.
Like Dana knew that he had a torn groin. So let me just ask him so I could say I asked him.
And
That's
you
like
can't
you
tell
asking
me
your girlfriend. Yeah, but
that's
that's like
Frankie.
you
Yeah.
asking your girlfriend if she wants to go to the bar when you know she's got to go to work. You know what I mean? Like you think that you're doing the right thing by asking. You know
She
what I mean?
works
And that's why
Sundays.
it's
She
just
works Sundays and Saturdays are for the boys. But you threw her a bone, and she's like, "I hate you." I hate
yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Like that's what I equate that to.
That's tough.
You
That's
know,
well done.
um,
Yeah.
uh, so this is what we've come to, and like I said, I don't like the guy. No, hey, congratulations, you're making your money, but you've also fucked up 2 divisions, and you don't give a fuck. That's great that you don't give a fuck, but there's guys that are fighting in that division that want to make some fucking money, and the way that they're going to make fucking money is by fighting for that belt.
And beating you even. I can name 5 or 6 guys between both divisions for sure. That I think would take it, or potentially take it from Conor. I really think that just matchup wise, Khabib is one of them. Frankie is a bad matchup for Conor McGregor. He just is. It's one of those weird things where Aldo will be, bad, potentially a bad matchup for Frankie forever. But I think Frankie would be a bad matchup for Conor forever. So that could be a weird triangle. Max is a tough guy. He took him to a decision when Max was raw as shit.
And hurt.
And hurt. Tony Ferguson's a bad motherfucker. He's losing out in all of this. I think he's unorthodox, has the lankiness and the weird chokes from different angles to get
He does, but I don't see Tony Ferguson beating Conor only for the fact as like unorthodox as he is.
You're racist because he's Hispanic.
That's not true. Shut up. No, yeah, I know he's gonna beat Conor and then mow his lawn after.
Oh
no. You asked
God.
for it.
He's gonna skim his pool.
No, what I think would happen is because like how unorthodox he is, I think he would walk right into the left hand. That's just what I think.
Yeah.
I think it could be a good fight, but I think he would walk right into his left hand. But you know what? I still want to fucking see it.
Me too. I want to see that. I want to see him versus Nate at 155, the trilogy. I want to see that. I do.
Like I hate when people are like, "Oh, who's there for him to fight?" Anybody else in that goddamn division?
A lot of people.
I'm saying? Like,
I would love to see Ally Quinta. I'm not just being a homer here because I know he's your boy. I would legitimately like to see Ally Quinta, that crazy power he has in his hands versus the knockout power that Conor has.
I'd like to see him fight Ferguson first. I'd like to see him fight Ferguson first.
He should be fighting Ferguson instead of fucking Kevin Lee. Christ. We go back to that.
Well,
why the fuck is Kevin, like, who's his godfather is what I want to know. I really feel like somebody made a call on somebody's behalf. And he's like, listen, you know what? If this doesn't happen, you're going to end up with a severed horse head in your back. Like,
no, I think what they did was they put all the lightweights' names in a hat.
Oh, and, Jesus Christ.
Had Stevie Wonder come and pick it out.
Oh, so my Lord. So you're telling me the order of my fantasy football draft is the same logic that was used for
pretty much.
For Jesus Christ. These are people's lives and livelihoods at stake, for God's sakes. Not just to mention my interest as a fan. and the fights and the matchups that I want to see. You know, but
I
there's
mean, there's
real
no
people.
way. Like Kevin Lee's not ready for that yet.
And yeah, that well, let me unequivocally agree with you. I didn't want to sound like I was saying, yeah, he was right. No, he's not. I wasn't impressed with him prior. He's got good fundamentals. I wanted to see him go through a couple people first. Chiesa is tough as nails, but you know, if that's the first thing that comes to mind when you're a fighter, it could mean you're tough. It could mean you're good at taking a beating, but it probably means you don't have anything else that comes to mind immediately. You know, so it's not like he's a kingmaker. It's not like beating him is suddenly, like you said at the top of this podcast, should make you a number one contender. It should put you in the mix, whatever the fuck that means now, which means absolute jack shit. You know, you're in the mix for nothing. You know, but Kevin Lee shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Kevin Lee should. If it's not Khabib, because, you know, he's fat and he doesn't want to call Mr. Giordano, which he should, then, you know, there's, like you said, Edson. I'd like to see a crazy stand-up war with that and seeing how Edson would work to stay away from the chokes and whatnot, which I think he could. That would be exciting. I mean, there's a bunch of folks at 155 that I would rather see. Like you said, Eddie Alvarez. And when he gets his wits about him, you know, he would probably give him a sweet, sweet run for his money. Then you can set up the rematch with Poirier for the belt, which would hopefully mean something at that point. You could set up a storyline where, hey, listen, I got the belt again, Connor. Come back and let's really settle this. I want my rematch. There's a lot of things you could do. And like you said, I think the Fertittas would set this up the right way.
You know what's going to happen? You know it's a shame?
Yeah.
It's a shame that Dave & Buster's isn't a big sponsor for the UFC anymore, because they could probably, instead of a belt, have these guys fight for like a $25 gift card for Dave & Buster's.
Jesus. Oh, I knew you were. Where's the flowers? Like, where he's taking me down a rosy path right now.
Because, I mean, like, that's pretty much like, you know what I mean? At least you're getting something that you can use.
You're fighting for a real big bag of tickets that you have to weigh. And, like, you know, the huge-ass bag gets you a pencil eraser. Those fuckers.
That's basically terrible. What it's all going to boil down to.
It's like a pawn shop for children, you know, where they're pawning their time and their parents' money, and they're getting shitty returns. Dave & Buster's, man, I tell you, the only thing they have there is the booze. That's how they get the parents involved. But I don't know, man. Yeah, honestly. But, you know, although that Kung Fu Panda game, I'm a big fan, bro. I'm not going to lie to you. The one where you got to, you know, hit the shit. I love that shit. Love that game. I love it.
Shout out to 80K Fightwear again. Kung Fu Panda.
Seriously. There you go. Boom. I like your headset. But I don't know, man. At 155, this poor fucking division, who knows? You know, we could be eating crow. He might get his ass
You heard what Brendan Schaub and Joe Rogan both said on that show. You mean to tell me he's going to make $100 million now?
Yeah.
Come back to the UFC for not even a third of that?
The only way he would ever come back for that is if literally his half joking, half serious request of a year and a half ago were honored, where WME was going to give him a slice of the pie, which everybody on this podcast, I remember we talked about it, because that's when we were first starting this thing out, and we were all like, that's never going to fucking happen.
Well, no, he could get his slice of the pie. You write a fucking check. Just like Mark Wahlberg said, write a fucking check.
But hey, man,
write a check. Then you'll get your slice of the pie. Because you know what? You know he would fight more then, because his stock would go up.
That's a good fucking point, man. Jesus.
I got plenty of them.
Yo, you sure you don't got the NBA tucked away in the back pocket? You're outdoing me on the fucking business moves here, man. That's a good goddamn point. I respect that, because anything to keep him, you know, selfishly as a fan, I want to see him fight every fucking 6 weeks on the dot. If he's not injured, I want to see him, you know, throw down. I want to see him grow the sport. But I really think we're seeing the last we're going to see of him.
Yeah.
They
put all their eggs in the Connor basket, and it's going to blow up in their fucking face when he's not making the money anymore.
It's like that construction company or whatever that hires a sweet ass project manager, right? And he's killing it for a while for them. but then he goes out and does his own thing and takes all the clients. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, well, what the fuck?
Because guess what? Now? If he does fight Malignaggi, that's going under McGregor Promotions.
It's McGregor Promotions 1,100,000,000%.
So he's making that money.
Dana is not. That's going to be buried under more legal shill games. You know, which cup is the money from this fight buried under? Then you can shake a stick at. Dana White is not sniffing a green dime from that cash. None. It's not going to happen. And Paulie will just I think he's really a Brooklyn bred son of a bitch that wants a piece now. I think the heat is real. I don't know what you think, at least on Paulie's part.
I think the heat is real. I do understand, like we've said, I do understand why Paulie is as upset as he is.
Of course.
And I don't buy into you saw all the cameras, so what do you expect? There's cameras in sparring sessions all the time.
To break down film.
It doesn't get blasted over social media the way this was. They brought him in on false pretenses to embarrass a guy who hasn't fucking trained. Yeah. That's like the bully beating up the special needs kid on the playground. Jeez. That's exactly what that's like.
I don't know.
You're gonna best the guy because you're the one who's been training and he's been sitting behind a desk the entire time.
Yeah.
But you're gonna have him go in there and box out 12 rounds.
Not to mention the tail end of his career was bad.
But you heard Brendan Schaub. You heard what Brendan Schaub and Rogan were talking about. When do you ever have one guy going 12 rounds in a sparring session? They keep bringing fresh guys in. Like
it's a Shark Tank.
Josh.
It's a Shark Tank.
It's the same thing with Josh. You have fresh guys. Okay, you did 5 rounds with this guy. Well, now another one's coming in. You're going to do 5 rounds with this guy. Different looks.
That's even preparing for a fucking grappling match. If it's one guy preparing, like I remember Mikey, Mike Wacker, my professor, like it was him, and then it was fresh people coming in, fresh people every round, fresh people coming in, and he was tapping and moving this, that, and the third, and that's how he was getting his work in. There was none of this like I'm going 6 rounds of death with one person. It doesn't make any goddamn sense if you're prepping them for a fight. If you're trying to beat the shit out of somebody, then that's what it means.
That's what all it was for. It was just for them to embarrass the guy. Well, congratulations. That's what you did. You embarrassed the guy. But this guy has a voice. So now we're getting lumped up into another fucking big pile of bullshit. And this is and from the very start, when we started talking about this months ago, I said, this is a fucking mistake because it's just going to breed a whole big shitstorm. And what's it doing?
1,000% the shitstorm. Everybody's calling everybody out from different organizations. I'm surprised Ramon Deckers' corpse isn't trying to, get Mike Tyson to fight him. Like this is just crazy shit that's going on, like from beyond the grave, a necromancer.
But how bad is it? How bad is it that I'm actually somewhat excited if Stipe Miocic gets to fight Anthony Joshua?
It's sad, but
I didn't want to have to get to that point.
But I'm excited.
And here's the worst part.
At least we see him, right? At least we see Stipe active. That's where we're at right now.
What's funny? In 16-ounce gloves, I give Stipe more of a shot than Conor in 16-ounce gloves, just because Stipe was already a pro boxer.
The background, exactly. I think, and also
so that's more intriguing.
The kill shot power on both of them. Puncher's chance means a lot more at heavyweight. I think you'll agree with me, right? It's just because even like shitty heavyweights, I'm not saying either one of them are, but even shitty heavyweights can knock somebody else out with a clean shot. So skilled heavyweights, I think the margin of error is even slimmer.
Are you talking about the guy who beat Mike Tyson the first time? Is that who you're talking about?
What Buster Douglas?
Buster Douglas.
Fucking
Are you talking about Buster
Douglas? Stop it! Oh my Lord! The side note, the one fond memory I have, I was really, really young when that happened.
So was I.
Yeah.
I still remember it though.
Yeah, I remember it too. You know what I really remember though? Was the elation the absolute utter joy that my mom had, because they were doing a pool where they pick rounds, you know, when you bet on the fight. So like my family was there, and she just drew. She got the shitty draw, and everybody's like, sucks to suck. She got Buster Douglas in the round that he won. And my mom's
Wow.
like, fuck all y'all. So that's all I remember. Just her swearing in Spanish.
I was upset. I was upset that Tyson lost because, I mean,
I was shocked.
as you could see.
And that's probably the butter soft shirt, if I remember.
It is.
Super soft, right? Is that the Roots of Fight jammy right there?
No.
Okay.
No, it's the Mike Tyson Boxing Club.
No shit. Those are nice as well, though. They're not as grappling and lotion. Not quite as nice as the 80K joints, but they're pretty good. I was just shocked, I remember, as a kid. Which, again, bringing it full circle.
I think my dad lost money on that fight, actually.
Yeah, of course he did. You know how many fucking people lost money on that fight, dude? Half the country went into a great recession. Like literally.
I know a good portion of my college fund went on the Mets World Series, or the Boston Red Sox and Mets World Series. I think the rest of it went on that Mike Tyson fight.
Oh Jesus Christ! It was just gonzo. Fuck, man. I'm telling you. Yeah, I'm glad I somehow found a way for, school or Uncle Sam to pay for me, because my dad liked the ponies as well.
But yeah, this is how bad it's gotten. We're getting excited for these fights outside
just to see something, right? I would just like to see Stipe fight again. Sadly, if I have to watch him in a boxing ring, oh fuck it, I guess. If that's what's going to happen. And then I'm also torn, though, because we keep coming back to this. We're both fans, but we're both around the fight game in daily life. I want to see these guys get paid. I just hate that this is the way they got to do it. I can't get mad at any of them. Like you said, I can't be mad at Conor, but I hate, because it's killing the sport right now. The UFC's not.
It's not killing the sport. It's killing the UFC. That's what it's killing.
Well, you're right, because Coker's doing great. They just picked up Frank Mir. That was the signing.
You know what else? You know what else? They're calling for
kangaroo meat. Kangaroo meat.
Tito versus Chael too.
Fuck that.
Right after Tito just had fucking.
Fuck that in the ear
again.
Fuck it in the fucking sideways, up and down, and on his face. Fuck it till it's begging for motherfucking mercy. I don't want to see that goddamn matchup.
I mean, Tito's in a neck brace. Yeah, I'm coming for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna whoop your ass. Oh, no, shout out to Valerie. Shout out to Dr. Frankenstein for putting these fake neck things in my neck. And Chael, watch your ass, Chael. Like, fuck, bro. Fuck. Like, you just got 3 discs changed in your neck, all right? And from what we know about physics and geometry, his giant dome is enough of a fulcrum that it could spell curtains for his spine if something were to happen.
Well, he's a fucking bobblehead now, for real. He's a goddamn bobblehead.
It's not built for that, all right? That's a sign. You know what? Tito Ortiz is a walking advertisement for why I believe that performance enhancers should be brought above board and everything should be on the table, because that's a dude that read about HGH, ordered it on the Silk Road, injected it into his fucking eyeballs, and just let it run its course. I want scientists and doctors.
Yeah, because his head was not that giant.
Fuck you. No, it wasn't. I mean, if it was... His mother would have died at childbirth, for fuck's sake. Yeah. That thing is the size of my fucking torso. And I'm no longer a small man. It is enormous. And that's coming for me, and I know I got a big dome. I can't wear regular fitteds.
But do you know the funny thing about that? They'll still get like fucking 5 million viewers on that fight, no matter what.
Goddamn right. And you know what? If that's the same thing, though, I'm telling you, I'm gonna be. You know what's that meme where it's the frog? He's about to put the fork in the outlet. You know That'll be me if that fight somehow like gets done. I'll be like, fuck it, I don't want to live. Because that's right up there for me with seeing like Ken versus Hoist again. Because remember with the inconclusive whatever the fuck that was that happened prior, they were starting to say, oh well, we got to run this back. No,
no more.
No, there's
no more.
And you know what's hilarious is that Chael was talking this up even before the neck surgery on his podcast. I got a friend at work that listens to You're Welcome, and you know.
Oh, I love Chael.
Yeah, but like, so
I do miss The Godfather.
Yeah. Fucking shout out to Joel. Shout out. You know,
with his bleeding gums.
I don't know what the fuck he's up to. He's selling cars, slinging dick. I don't know. But
wasn't he supposed to have a fight with Wes Sims?
I'd pay to see. I'd pay to see that before I pay to see Chael versus fucking Tito.
Yeah, but he was training for a fight with Wes Sims. What happened with that? We're gonna have to look that up.
We will, because I feel like Wes Sims would be game as fuck. Don't you think if Wes Sims at this stage in his life and career would be like, fuck it, it's a paycheck and I might beat this guy. You know, if
I'm
I can
pretty
put it
sure
on the feet.
Wes Sims would fight a one-legged transvestite for $1.50.
The same one that was blowing Eddie Murphy back in the day. They got caught on Sunset Boulevard in the limo. Like, yo, I ain't know she had a dick. When I found out, I kicked her out. Star. Yeah, exactly. Christ, he went full retard. But no, yeah, he was hyping it though, Chael, on his podcast a couple weeks ago already. He's already pumping it up. Like, I don't want to see that. I don't want to.
You know why I want to see it? Because
the first one was a fix. Let's get that out of the way, bro. Bro,
he fucking tapped.
Yeah.
He fucking tapped.
Yeah.
The ref didn't see it, but he fucking tapped. I don't know why Chael let it go. He fucking tapped.
Because I think Chael was fighting too stiff. He was doing the work too stiff, right? Is that the right wrestling term? He was working stiff. That's what. Yeah. See, I'm catching on. I'm trying, man. But he was working stiff, and I think he might have been, you know, the proverbial pin in the camel's neck there. That led to, you know, coming out like he's a fucking science experiment and then calling for a fight when you're.
He fucking tapped.
He did. He tapped, but then. What, did the referee get distracted by a gorgeous set of tits again?
I don't know. Like I don't think the ref was looking.
Yeah, you know, the same one
I don't think the ref was looking.
Bustamante.
Yeah. Hey, you leave Big John alone. You leave Big John alone. He's made one big blunder in his entire career.
I mean, it did lead to basically the first and only reset double tap of a fucking champion.
Yeah, but you see, it as bad as that was, it still ended the way it should have ended.
Because Bustamante is a goddamn legend for good reason. Imagine had it not, though. Imagine if Bustamante hadn't caught him again. Versus,
I think John would have probably felt so fucking bad. You know what I mean? He probably would have come out, you know, and made a whole bunch of statements. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And for those that are trying to follow along at home, it's Manolo Bustamante versus Matt Lindland, the infamous middleweight, right? It was middleweight at that time.
Yep.
Right? It was 180 for the 185 strap back in the day. And Bustamante tapped him once. Lindland tapped. Big John was like, and stops. We got to read it. Needless to say, it led to another tap finally, and Bustamante won. But big blunder in John's career. But he's made up for it, I guess.
It ended the way it was supposed to. It ended the right way.
Miraculously.
Chael and Tito's, you can't leave a fight like that with that much controversy behind it. You know, I know, and I was one of the people saying that it was bullshit, it was fixed. He fucking tapped.
It was a fixed fight.
He tapped.
Somebody
was in on it and somebody wasn't. Let's just put it that way.
Okay, you know what? I'll give you that. So you're telling me it's like a Don Fry special? or like a Dan Severn special, because both of those sons of bitches have been involved in various levels of fixed fights. I want to
It's
say,
just I don't know. It's just too weird. It's too weird. Like, first of all, why did he let go? Why did he reposition? He still can't even figure out why he let go.
could
You know
we
what I mean?
potentially chalk that up to Chael Sonnen deep down secretly hates Chael Sonnen? Because he does this in
I
big
mean,
in big
he
matches.
is his own worst enemy. I mean,
1,000%, man. I'm telling
he
you.
wrote the blueprint on how to
Choking
beat Anderson Silva.
and choking on how to beat
Yeah, but
Anderson Silva.
all jokes aside, he wrote the blueprint on how to beat Silva, which is why everybody pretty much knew that Weidman was going to beat Silva.
Because he was better at that exact blueprint than Chael was. He was a younger, faster, better version with better stand-up. So yeah, people that
And coming
knew
from Sarah Brazilian Jiu Jitsu,
exactly.
as
So
opposed to, wrestling in West Lynn.
wrestling on the mean streets of West Lynn and being a Republican, so he doesn't get in between any other guy's legs.
I mean, come on. You always got to take it there.
I flat out do because it's one of the greatest quotes of all time. Get the fuck out of here. I don't do that jujitsu shit. I'm a Republican. I fell off my chair when I fucking heard that. Like, that works on 7 different levels, show. You keep on rocking your bad self. Like, that's when he was still the king of trash stuff.
But I'm just like, like we said, like, he wrote the blueprint on it. 150%. He wrote the blueprint on it. And Weidman followed through with it. So Chael's got that in him, but like we said, he is his own worst enemy. He just gets caught in too many submissions. But when he's on his game and doesn't get, look what he did to Brian Stan,
that was
his buddy.
that was impressive. It was, but you know what's crazy? Look at what we're talking about here. Talking about another promotion where they have almost the opposite problem as the UFC. UFC, we're going, man, the belts don't mean anything. They used to. We wish they did. Bellator can't get the belts to mean anything. They can't even get over that hump where.
Well, you know what it is? Bellator still hasn't been 100% established yet. That the freak shows are what's bringing those ratings in.
Yeah, like the Hoist Shamrock.
Yeah, those freak show fights are what's bringing the money in for them. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of it, but it's keeping Bellator extremely relevant. Like World Series of Fighting, it's just not really relevant anymore. All their good fighters are leaving.
Yeah, they're all
leaving.
They're not able to lock them down, and that's even with like one of the brass or the executives there being an alleged hitman, right? Wasn't one of their like VPs legit?
I thought it was like sexual harassment and stuff.
No, he was some sort of crazy mobster where it was like I don't want to say terrorist because I don't think it was terrorist. I think it was just flat out like in the underworld or some bullshit. Look it up, guys. Honestly,
are you talking about Pride or are you talking about World Series?
No, that's a different. This is a whole different guy. There's this one dude that nobody wanted to cross, and he was coming out, and he was saying, "You don't want to fuck with me." This, that, and the third. If I find it, I'll post it on the Facebook page.
But you know what it is with that organization? It's a shame because you got Boss Rutan doing the commenting, which that right there should bring you goddamn ratings.
It should.
You're on NBC Sports, so that's something else that should bring you. That should bring you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have pretty good goddamn fighters there. Some of them. I mean, okay, John Fitch, but he's there.
Yeah, he's there. He's a name. He's still a rough customer. You could say they picked up Fitch in the same situation or the same way in the career, the same point in his career where Bellator picked up Mitrione, say. So like when they picked him up, at least. I'm not saying now because there's been a hard tumble from grace with Fitch's career.
And you know what else? Like to go back to Bellator, I don't understand why everybody Chris hates Ryan Bader so much. I don't.
Bader's the fucking real deal, man. And you know what? I'm not a fan. Well, I'm not exactly a fan of looking at a man's even pixelated crotch, but I love what he tried to do with showing a little personality. Tips with masturbator. You know what I mean? Okay, he tried. And he was trying to get on podcasts. He's trying to get his name out there. I get it. I think that's just Chris being choosing some guy. Did you show any hint of liking him? Because that's like almost 90% of what it takes for Chris to be like, I hate that fight.
I think I always liked, Bader. I thought he was good on the Ultimate Fighter. Like, yeah, okay, he did wrestle his way to wins, doing what his bread and butter. But as he got in the UFC, like, he was a little bit spotty, but he did put on some pretty good goddamn fights. I mean, his fight with Rampage was pretty goddamn good. That was Rampage's last fight, and he beat him in fucking Japan.
That's impressive.
Like,
Where
Rampage and Bob Sapp are, both held up high on the pedestal
as
as
they should be.
Japan's favorites.
Don't be talking about them disrespectfully, right? Especially Bob Sapp. He's a legend, sir. You shut your mouth. Don't you be trying to talk shit about my boy Bob.
I mean, Bader had everything against him in that fight. Rampage comes out to the Pride theme song.
Lovely.
In Saitama fucking Super Arena.
Another plus.
You know what I mean? So I actually like Bader. Maybe it's because I was a wrestler. I like the wrestlers. But, I mean,
so is Chris, though.
He's also got a pretty good goddamn right hand.
Yeah, he can crack if he drops that on you. All
Ask
I want.
Ask Vinny Manglesh how that right hand is.
And Vinny's a bad motherfucker, but let me tell you this: the one thing I never want to see ever the fuck again is Ryan Bader and Phil Davis even step into a coffee shop together, much less a fucking square.
You're about to see it,
arena. Did they sign that the trilogy? Really?
You're gonna see it.
Why? Because there's a lack of people to have at that level. Like, no.
Well, because Liam is fighting King Mo.
Christ, fuck! You're ruining my evening. You're fucking ruining my evening. Because let me tell you, I marked out again another wrestling term. I'm trying, Tommy. I marked out hard for the rematch at MSG. I did. I was like, yo. I bought the hype train. I said, it can't be that bad again. It's almost like thinking back a really shitty act. You're like, you know what? We had some good times. There's no way it's going to be that bad again, is it? And then she burns her house down again. Again, mind you. Again. All right? And this time she just ties you to the bed. Like, she's trying to go for the gusto. Be like, I'm going to finish this.
Yeah, but here's the difference this time. The last time you spent $60 to watch it. This time you're watching it for free.
I still feel like I could have. That was what, 3 rounds, 5 rounds, whatever the fuck it was. All right. It felt like I had an Iron Maiden strapped to me, and it was just getting slowly tightened as the rounds went on. Chief, that was fucking horrendous. It was just goddamn awful. I had such high hopes for it. They never need to do that again.
Yeah, but you know what? Now with Bellator, maybe it might be, they got a career resurgence to both of them. So you never know.
I want to see him nab. I want to see him nab like one more amazing 205er or somebody right around there, and then maybe set up like a weird trilogy sort of situation.
Maybe Jimmy Manuwa is going to need a job soon.
He very well might. Honestly, because Ozdemir made him look like an amateur. I'm not exactly still sold on the no time stuff. I'm just being a curmudgeon. I just think it's lack of depth. We talked about this at the light heavyweight, but Manuwa could be interesting, or just somebody getting picked up. Who the hell knows? Maybe an up and comer. We had Masood on. He's firmly heavyweight, but maybe there's somebody in his camp or over at Paradigm. That's an upcoming 205er. Bellator needs to snag him because they need some different looks.
Bellator needs some heavyweights. I can't name you a Bellator heavyweight.
I really can't, aside from Fedor and now Frank Mir and
Mitrione
and Big Country, right? But what do all those guys have in common? They were non-Bellator stars.
Mm-hmm.
None of this homegrown stuff at that weight. I mean, is there still that weird Russian cat that's in there that had the
Couldn't
belt.
even tell you. I couldn't even tell you.
I can't tell you either. You know, maybe he got recalled by Putin to go assassinate more journalists. I don't fucking know. But you know, before we get put on that hit squad, I think it's it's right around that time to wrap things up. We have a guest coming on Monday, though, right? Is it good
Yes, we do.
to announce it? You want to fill us in, Tommy?
Yes, we have Ricardo Almeida fighter Sean Teed coming on. He's just fresh off a victory in CFFC. He was touted as the master of the Teed lock, but in his last fight, he decided to TKO his opponent. I had the pleasure interviewing him on Cage Side Submissions. He's a really good dude and an extended teammate. So
he's a heavyweight.
Yeah,
I mean, we were just talking about.
He's a big boy.
Bellator needing depth at heavyweight. I mean,
he's a big boy, and he's a purple belt in jiu-jitsu.
He's skilled as shit. I'm telling you, I've seen, you know, what I knew about him from before. You know, the two of us linked up. You said that you were trying to get him on the show. And when you talked to him with Cage Side, looked into his career, man, the dude's legit, bro.
Yeah.
You know, and heavyweight needs talent. I mean, Bellator, I think, would probably be a really great spot for him. Any East Coast shows that they wanted to do, they'd have local talent. I know that's their model, right? Brad was telling us that they pick up locals to kind of showcase and see if they get behind.
I think he should be on the Contender. But I think
that would be another. Yeah, I mean, so we'll get him on Monday, and we'll throw a couple questions at him and see kind of what I'm excited. Because he was a great interview with Cage Side. You guys did a great job. He's very personable. So I'm looking forward to that.
And don't forget about our new segment that's going to be coming Monday.
The 5 rounds of death? Or the quickies.
Quickies with Pillow Talk Chris.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, that's much more appropriate of a name, considering where it's coming from. So we're gonna debut that segment there. So thank you, Tommy. As always,
well,
it was
first
a pleasure.
Of all, before we end,
yes.
I just wanted to personally thank Michal, Masood, and Cyrus for the amazing show that we had on Monday.
They were phenomenal.
The response that we got was absolutely amazing. Thank you, Michal, for helping us put this thing together with Masood. I mean, people don't understand how hard of an interview this was for us, because when we do our podcasts, we're not all in the same room.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Omar's in New York. I'm in a hotel in Virginia. And Chris and Carl are in New Jersey.
Doing government contract work. I don't think you do what you say you do. Tommy,
so
I'm just putting it out there.
Just to do a regular show for us is hard enough. Then we had the translator, which was Cyrus, calling in from Iran. And Masood, who doesn't speak English.
Both of them.
What?
Mad early too, both of them, right? Like they were.
And Masood calling in from fucking Thailand. It was so hard, but the whole thing went so smooth and so awesome, and we had such a good time. I just personally want to thank Cyrus, Masood, Michelle. Thank you guys for coming on the show. It was great for us. I hope you guys had a good time, and I hope it helps you in your career.
Me too. Shout out to Paradigm Management. Shout out to AKA Thailand. You know, Mike Swick doing some good work out there as well. So yeah, man, we're going international. Who knew that 40 shows in, 40 some odd shows in, we'd be interviewing, up and comers from across the globe. That's a pretty awesome thing, man. We had two folks from halfway across the world, both of them in different spots, coming in, and that interview was phenomenal, Tommy. Like, my hat's off to you for doing the legwork and getting that set up. I know you're not going to do it yourself. You're not a break your own arm to pat yourself on the back sort of guy, but you did the legwork there. You made it happen, and we're always here to provide a forum for up and coming fighters. So and I think we proved it. And nobody can say that interview was anything but amazing. I'll pat us on the back. That interview was fucking phenomenal. It
was good.
It really was, and we got his story out. He's Iranian. We're an American-based podcast. You know, some folks would have said, "Hey, there's going to be tension." There was none. We weren't
No.
worried about any of that. We were worried about the logistics of it. That's it. Then he comes on and shows, hey, you know, how he's a good person. He fights hard. Came from a really shit situation. If you haven't heard it, you should. It's a great interview. Cyrus was tremendous.
Well, you see, that's what made it.
Yeah.
When you listen to most of these podcasts with a translator, the translator doesn't know shit.
No.
All they're doing is just relaying what the other person is telling them. Cyrus was on his shit. He knew everything. If Masood never got the chance to call in because his internet connection didn't work, we could have did that whole entire interview with Cyrus, and it would have resonated just as good as it did when Masood came in.
And it would have gotten Masood's story out anyway.
Exactly.
That was cool.
It all worked.
Yeah.
Everything came together. Just like you said, thank you, Paradigm Management. I look forward to working with you guys in the future to get some of your top clients on, as well as some of your up-and-coming fighters. That's what I wanted to get out.
Everybody. Absolutely, man. So for Tommy D, this is Omar, and this is the Pride Rules Podcast signing off. Shout-outs to our sponsors, as always. Black Hole Jiu-Jitsu, Madama Jiu-Jitsu, and ADK Fightwear. Tune in Monday. It's going to be a later show, Tommy?
Yeah, it's going to be a later one.
Okay, we're going to start
Sean's teaching.
Okay.
Sean's teaching, so we're probably going to start at we're going to have to start the show at about 9:30, and he'll be calling in a little after 10.
Beautiful. So we'll see you guys at 9:30. Pride Rules signing off.